What's up, YouTube? It's Cairo, and have y'all ever just been with someone that smelled like shit? Well, I have, back in good old junior year in high school. And I'll tell you, man, it was not fun at all. And the thing is, I wouldn't talk about it as much maybe if she was actually a nice girl or a nice person, but she wasn't. She was actually kind of an asshole. So here we are, and for those that know me, I'm kind of petty. So yeah, let me take y'all back to when I was 16, good old junior year, huh? So let me give y'all a little backstory. So I was dating this one other girl, which is another story for another time. But we dated for about 8 months on and off, and not gonna lie, man, I was heartbroken. She was my first love, first everything. And me just being a 16-year-old kid, it was hard for me to deal with. So, as any other teenage boy, handles pain and whatnot, I started talking to other girls. You know what I mean? I would just kind of talk to this one over here, maybe a friend over there, But this one in particular, I saw her for the first time, right, walking around the little it's the student quad, whatever you want to call it. Because at my school, we'd have these lunch periods, and you do whatever you want, and it was kind of built like a square almost. So me and my friends, we'd walk around the square, and then lo and behold, I see a girl just walking around with her and her other two friends. And she was with this one I've never seen before, but the other one was this one girl I used to also talk to, which, again, story for another time. But there she was, on the right side of them both. And I was like, oh, who's this person? And, we'd look at each other, but, it wasn't anything too crazy, I didn't know her name. I didn't know what grade she was in. I didn't know who she was acquainted to. None of that. So I left it alone. Month went by, didn't see her. Another month went by, didn't see her. And then, 3 months go by, and I think you can guess, never saw her. And so, I just continued to live my own life, do my own thing, whether it was play football with my friends, play basketball, going to school, hanging out with my friends, whatever the case was. So then, fast forward to next semester in high school, years 2023, it's cool, man. I wasn't really talking to no one. I was minding my own business, life was good. Until I get a Snapchat notification from, let's call her Felicia. And like any man would, from a girl that they probably don't know on Snapchat, I answered it. I was like, hey, what's up? Hit her with the meanest game you can think of. The good old, what you look like. And then after talking for a little bit, she sent me pictures of her. And I was like, I put the two and two together. And I was like, oh, that's the girl that I've seen before. And then turns out, we had some stuff in common. Her little sister went to my little sister's school. We're in the same high school. And overall, she just seemed cool to talk to. So we just continued it from there. Week went by. Everything was good. But then I saw her in person. Before I say this, some of y'all may get upset. Some of y'all may not fuck with me after this, but it's in my opinion, I feel as if you should show pictures that what you currently look like, not pictures from maybe a year ago or maybe in your best moment from when you, I don't know, you might have been younger, or maybe you took that a long time ago, or you just look completely different in the photo. The thing is though, I've seen her before, right? I did a little bit of stalking. I saw the Instagram. And I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. But the thing is, I haven't seen her in 6 months at this point. But I still thought I was good. Because who can really change that much in 6 months? Especially in high school, you know what I mean? Maybe a new haircut. Maybe a new hair color. Some new clothes. But no. She had a little bit of weight on her. Now, okay, before y'all say something, thing is, it's I don't really find it that much of a problem, you know? Like, I've talked to bigger girls, and, like, they're cool as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're cool as hell. But, like, I was just curious, though, just, like, how we got from point A to point B so fast. But, as my friends know me, I don't discriminate. So I was like, hey, like, you know, still, like, what's up? So, you know, we'd hang out at school, you know, hung out a little bit, and, like, everything was smooth for the most part. And now, before I say or continue this story, one thing that I'll tell y'all about relationships for my younger viewers that may be watching is, like, not everyone, whether that's a guy or a girl, is probably gonna show you, you know, like, who they actually are in the beginning of your talking stage or dating or whatever the case may be. And that certainly was the case for me, because everything seemed fine, you know, seemed like she had a good personality. You know, I thought she looked good at the time. I thought, you know, she was nice. But like I said before, she turned out to be an asshole. Like, this one particular day, probably on a weekend or a Wednesday, some shit, she invited me out to go watch a movie with her family. Or at least, like, with her dad and her little sister. I don't think her mom came. But, hold on, by the way, her parents were actually really good people, might I add. Like, the dad, he was actually really nice to me, and so was her mom. But anyway, back to her. So, she invited me out to this really nice movie theater. You know, the ones with the recliners, you know, you press the button and then the waiter comes in, you know, takes your order, you order the food and they bring it to you, all of that. But at first, like, I didn't want to go because I was still, you know, using my mom's money, and I felt bad if I were to just, like, you know, kind of blow it off, like, or at least blow more money on movie tickets at a really nice place. And then also, because I knew I was gonna buy food too, like, also purchasing some food. I knew that would have cost even more, and it's like, I didn't like using my mom's money like that, though. But then Felicia offered to pay for me, and I was like, oh, bet, okay, like, you know what I mean, like, say less. So then we go to the movies, and turns out I thought we were gonna go watch Mario when it came out, but she wanted to watch some horror movie, and her dad and her little sister went to watch Mario. Which, by the way, I wanted to see, but she's paying for it, so, I mean, it is what it is, like, and I was fine with that. But then, you know, fast forward a little bit into the movie. Red flag number one. This, like, I think older Asian lady came up, sat kind of beside us, like, I think she was maybe a seat or two away. And then Felicia just completely starts, like, shitting on her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, basically she was just talking shit. For, like, no reason, might I add. And I, like, kind of started to feel bad, because I'm like, bro, like, what did she do? Because she was basically just, like, her presence was, like, just pissing her off. For, like, no reason, might I add. And she seemed like a nice lady, too, because she was just by herself enjoying the movie. But then, so, fast forward, you know, we want to order food, and disclaimer, when I told her about how I didn't want to, you know, use my mom's money, because, like, I already bought, like, I think snacks, like, a few days ago, and I was like, nah, like, I feel like, you know, spending money at this expensive movie / restaurant place, I feel like that's kind of doing too much, you know what I mean? And so, that's when she was like, alright, like, I'll pay. And so I thought, you know, with the movie, and I told her, like, oh yeah, I don't have money like that for, like, you know, snacks and all that stuff, but she told me that she had all of that covered. But then as soon as the guy came and was like, oh, like, this is, like, it's, like, $40 or $50, you know what she does? She sits there, looks over at me, smiling, as if I'm gonna pay. And you know what happened? I ended up fucking paying. Because it was like, I don't like, or at least I did not like conflict or feeling awkward. And we sat there for like 15 to 20 seconds, mind you, longest time, like that's the longest 15 to 20 seconds of my life. Just sitting there in awkward silence as he's looking at me as well. Then you got my girl over here just laying down with her dogs out, which I'm not a feet man by any means. But she's sitting there smiling, waiting for me to pay. And so I whip out the wallet, get out the card, and then I give it to the guy to pay for it. And then, like, you know, I got corn dogs and with, like, you know, like sauce, like, you know, like mustard on the side. She got, like, I forgot if it was ribs or, like, chicken. And then also got M&Ms and a drink. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was mainly her shit. So, rightfully so, I'm mad as fuck, by the way. Like, I had an attitude the rest of the movie. We leave, you know, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, bro, like, I told you before this, like, I don't have money to be doing this right now, like, you know? And then she was like, oh, I was reaching for my wallet. I'm like, no, you were not. Like, you know, like, no, the hell you were not. And then she got mad at me because I was upset. And then so she's like, hold my M&Ms. And then she grabs, like, you know, she has in her hand, puts it on my chest. But I'm like, dude, no. Like, no, those are yours. But she's like, hold them. And then puts on my chest, lets it go, and, you know, they fall on the floor, on the concrete. Mind you, this is all happening outside of the movie theater. So then I'm just standing there like, what the hell? And then, you know what she says to me? She says, pick it up. The fuck? And then so I'm pissed. I'm like, who do you think you're talking to? And then she's like, pick it up. And I'm not the type of guy to cause a scene just out in public like that. So, you know, I end up doing it. Ugh. Fellas, if a girl does this to you, don't pick that shit up. Don't do what I did. But anyway, her dad gets back, and then we go home. Ugh. So then fast forward to our next and final date. So the plan was we were gonna go see another movie, this time at a little, like, you know, cheaper spot. But we're gonna go see a movie after school, and we were gonna walk there. But before that, since the movie kind of started a little bit later than, like, on the time that we agreed on, we were just gonna walk around, you know, kind of going, like, little stores that was kind of by, you know, the movie theater. It was only, like, you know, a 5-minute walk. So school ends, bell rings, we find each other, and then we start walking. And I don't need to say what happens next because, you know, you can picture us, you know, just going into different stores, you know, walking around. Oh, and I saw my freshman football coach. That was kind of fun. But anyway, so we get to the movies. And then I forgot what movie oh, no. We went to go see Creed 3. And I love the Creed movies, one of my favorite franchises. Anyway, so we get the tickets and then we go to sit down. And then, not even like 10 seconds later, I smell like rotten food. And so, but I didn't say anything, because at first I thought it was possibly me. So, you know, I do like my little sniff test when she wasn't looking. So, you know, I sniffed the left armpit, didn't smell anything. The right one real quick, still didn't smell anything. So I knew it wasn't me. So the movie starts. But then these middle schoolers come and, you know, they sit right directly in front of us. And so we move and we go all the way across the movie theater away from them. So we're on the completely opposite side now. But then again, not even 5 seconds later, I smell the exact same scent that I smelt before. And then I look at her thinking there's no way, right? Because I've only heard about this on YouTube. But then fast forward, it's kind of the end of the movie, still like a couple minutes to go. But then she turns to me and says, do you want to, you know, do something for an exchange? Not money, but like, you know, another form of exchange. If you know, you know. And so I'm like, hell yeah. And so I get to getting, and yes, it was in the movie theater, but I'm a nasty little Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But anyway, so I get done, and then we're sitting there, right? And As she's laying down, I do a little sniff check. And what do you know? It's the exact same smell I've been smelling for the past hour. And you know the worst part? I didn't get my side of the deal. So then it's the end of the night, and then fast forward, we broke up. But yeah, so this is the story of how I was messing with a girl that smelled like dookie. So, moral of the story, make sure you wash and do a sniff check. But make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.